Never stop reading Bible. All right, let's jump straight into today's explainer. We're diving into the text of 2 Chronicles, specifically chapters 17 through 20, to look at the life of King Jehoshaphat. He was the fourth king of Judah, and let me tell you, his story is an absolute roller coaster. It's a fast-paced, four-part saga of incredibly powerful leadership, a totally catastrophic mistake, and ultimately profound redemption. We're going to see a leader who literally experienced the highest highs and the absolute lowest lows. So here's a quick look at how his reign breaks down. Phase 1, his early strength. Phase 2, a disastrous alliance. Phase 3, justice restored. And finally, Phase 4, a miraculous deliverance. Let's get right into it. Act 1, Reforms and National Strength. Right out of the gate in chapter 17, Jehoshaphat came in with an ironclad commitment to internal security and fierce spiritual devotion. I mean, he systematically destroyed the local high places and Asherah idols, completely overhauling the religious landscape of the nation. But he didn't just tear things down, right? He built them up. He actually sent teachers out to instruct the people in the law. And this huge nationwide education program directly resulted in undeniable military power and immense wealth. Judah was thriving. Which brings us to Act 2, the disastrous alliance. You know, even great leaders have blind spots. Facing a divided nation, Jehoshaphat decides to prioritize political pragmatism, and he forms a marriage alliance with King Ahab of the northern kingdom. It's a massive shift. Before they head into battle to reclaim Ramoth-Gilead, Ahab parades out 400 yes men who basically guarantee them a victory. But there's this one lone, heavily persecuted truth-teller, the prophet Micah, who prophesies absolute defeat. And tragically, Jehoshaphat just totally ignores the truth. And wow, did that blow up in his face! The result was the Ramoth-Gilead disaster. The Allied forces march into battle, and they are absolutely crushed by the Arameans. King Ahab is even killed in the chaos. By ignoring that single divine warning, they suffered a completely devastating military defeat. Jehoshaphat's political gamble failed in the worst way possible. Moving right along to Act 3, Rebuke and Justice Restored. So Jehoshaphat barely escapes the battlefield alive, and he retreats back to Jerusalem. When he gets there, the seer Jehu sharply rebukes him for this alliance. But here's what makes Jehoshaphat different. Instead of making excuses or getting defensive, the king humbly accepts it. He immediately launches a second wave of reform. He personally travels all the way from Beersheba to Ephraim just to turn the people back to God, and he establishes strict, fair judicial systems across all the fortified cities. Talk about a massive, immediate course correction. But just as the kingdom starts to recover, a terrifying new crisis emerges. It really begs the question, how does a reformed nation handle an impossible invasion? Like, what actually happens when you do the right thing, but disaster strikes anyway? Act 4, Invasion and Miraculous Victory. Picture this. A massive combined army of Moabites and Ammonites is marching straight toward Judah. It is a total existential threat. But this time around, Jehoshaphat doesn't rely on political alliances. He relies entirely on God. He executes this absolutely flawless deliverance formula. First, he proclaims a national fast. Second, the people all gather together at the temple to pray. Third, God answers them with a prophecy of victory. And finally, they witness a miraculous deliverance right before their eyes, as the invading armies actually turn on each other. It was an impossible victory, secured through nothing but pure faith. So what's our takeaway here? Even the greatest leaders stumble. Jehoshaphat certainly did. But true legacy isn't defined by having a perfect record. It's defined by humility, the willingness to reform, and your ultimate reliance on God when you're facing impossible odds. It leaves us with a pretty important question. When we take the wrong path, do we stubbornly double down, or do we humbly course correct? Think about that for a bit. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Produced by the Center Studio.